It's drawing time. Well, hello there, I'm Detroit. Before we get started, let's take a short trip back to August 2nd, 2020. A video called Ink Bubbles Speed Drawing.
Because this channel is all about learning artistic stuff. And
it's always a bit cringy to hear myself back then, and a lot's changed since then. I didn't have a microphone. I did the video and the audio recording on my phone. I also used to record audio while my roommate was still sleeping early in the morning, so I couldn't be too loud. A lot has changed, but the pattern is still almost the same. Circles and wormy arrows. That's the most of it. I wasn't too inspired today, and I thought I would make a more classical abstract pattern rather than always trying to innovate. With a similar line of thought, I went back to the times I didn't draw every video in a sketchbook, but on an A4 sheet of paper, Bristol paper to be precise. The combination Bristol paper and medium-sized fountain pen feels really good. The surface of the paper is very slick, with not much grain, and the pen flows naturally onto it, without having to think about it at all. It's not very scratchy, you know? I would love to get a Bristol paper sketchbook. I don't even know if it exists. I might have to create my own if I want it. But yeah, Bristol is great. It's thicker than regular drawing paper, so it doesn't bleed through. You do have to be a bit careful though, because the inks tend to take more time to dry than on regular paper. So for a sketchbook, you would have to wait before closing the page. It also applies to putting your hand on the paper if you want to avoid smudging. That's the reason I started near the top left corner, so that my hand would never be on top of the drawing. By the way, near the very start of this drawing, I decided to make it a circle rather than a random overall shape. I didn't have a compass on hand, and I couldn't be bothered to find one, so I used a plate to pencil the circle on the page. I have a soup plate that's just a bit smaller in diameter than the width of the page. It was perfect. Sometimes laziness makes you do strange things. I know where my compass is. It's in a box with other drawing supplies on my shelf. But I have like 3 boxes with random things on top, and I suspect the compass to be in the bottom box. And just the thought of removing the box and stuff to find it, it was faster to pick up a plate and see how it fit the page. Not like you care. You didn't even see the plate. I didn't film it. You know, when I started this drawing, I didn't expect it to take so long. With my 2 cameras, I ended up with about 25 video files in total. The drawing took 3 hours and 12 minutes, which is quite a lot for an ink doodle. Technically, it's a rather simple drawing, in the sense that the pattern is uniform and only has wiggly arrows with circles in the space that's left behind. 3 hours is only because the page is wide and the lines are dense. I started the drawing early in the morning, then went to work, then continued it for an hour, then ate, then finished it. It took a full day, for which I couldn't really use my desk and my computer for other stuff, because I didn't want to move it for continuity in the video. This is why I'm usually satisfied with sketchbook drawings. On A5 format, like a sketchbook page, drawings are smaller, and so they take less time. But once in a while, you know, it's good to change. Just like it's good to go back to the basics, to drawings done years ago. On that topic, old drawings, I think I'll go back to a few drawing challenges I did in the next few weeks. While searching for the Ink Bubbles video earlier, I scrolled through all my 200 plus videos, and honestly, I had really good ideas for a lot of videos. 2 in particular come back to mind. The first one is, your canvas is the wrong shape. I think it's a really good idea. It's the kind of idea that makes you think, should I make this video now, or do I wait until I have a bit more following because people are gonna want to see this? Because a lot of old videos I wish I'd done now instead of 2 years ago when nobody was watching. Even if now we are still a very modest community, it's still about 10 times bigger than it was at the time. But yeah, your canvas is the wrong shape. It's about the fact that drawing on a rectangle makes no sense, and it's much more creative to fit drawings in random shapes. In that video, I tore a piece of paper randomly and drew on the different parts with what they inspired me. I would like to do that again. Moreover, I still wholeheartedly believe in what I said, all the reasons why a rectangular canvas is not optimal. The second video idea I want to revisit is one I've done a mini-series on, and once again it involves a different sort of canvas. I'm talking about the 3 videos called Infinite Canvas or Infinite Drawing or something. I don't really remember the name. The pitch is simple. Drawing on a roll of paper, like a scroll, rather than on a flat rectangle. Infinite, or at least you can draw for like 2 meters. I clearly remember that drawing idea, which, again, I think is a banger concept. At the time, right before starting my PhD, I was very low on money, and I had to wait a month before starting my research contract. Because of that, in order to pay rent, I worked as a cashier in a supermarket. The machine that prints the receipts always beeps and flashes red when it gets low on paper, and you have to change the roll of paper. But it happens a long time before it actually runs out of paper. Instead of throwing away the old roll, I kept it. So I have like 3 rolls of white receipt paper. It doesn't feel the best to draw on, but do you have any other way to get a piece of paper than you can put on a roll of a few meters of length? So yeah, that's what I want to revisit as well. Tell me in the comments which of the 2 ideas I just exposed I should remake and remaster. I'll probably do the 2 anyway, but you know, comments really help to prop a video up in the algorithm. Write something down below. Anything, it doesn't matter. Of course, I would rather you type something nice, or useful, or a drawing prompt suggestion, but you can also type nonsense if you really want to. I do draw nonsense regularly, so it is fair that you replied with nonsense sometimes. But yeah, this circle makes me think of that. It's nice to draw a circle. Circles within a circle is even better. You know, I don't really like straight lines. I like straight lines only when they're here to contrast curves. We are obsessed with straight lines when we should be adding more curves in things we produce. As humans, I mean. Of course, it's more efficient to have square things like furniture and appliances because we can stack them and assemble them, but curves are nicer. There are only curves in nature. A circle is so pure because of that. It's a pure shape. It's so simple, it's like the simplest shape. The sun isn't a square in the sky, it's a circle. A drop of water makes a sphere. Leaves are curved. Stones are uneven. There are close to no natural cubes. Curves are also very dynamic. It's the whole point of gesture drawing. You avoid straight lines and you use basically only C curves and S curves. Okay, I know this is an abstract drawing I'm making here, but recently I've been working on anatomy a lot, so here are my thoughts on it. There is a dichotomy in learning anatomy and drawing the human body. To learn the anatomy, the proportions, you use traits. You define the parts of the body with cubes, spheres and cylinders. But that is for learning. It's only to practice until you have the proportions ingrained in your eye and your wrist. When you actually draw, you are almost forbidden from using straight lines. You only use curves. It's really hard to draw the human body because, in a sense, you really have to separate the skills you need to learn how to and the skills you need to actually draw. But one doesn't work without the other. Gesture drawing can turn into very caricatural or cartoony if you don't have the proportions. And that is the best case scenario. It's only if it doesn't look straight up bad. An anatomically correct drawing, however, looks very robotic or stiff and unnatural if you focus on the proportions and not the language of the body, the expression. I guess now that I think about it, the in-between of the two is shape language. It's getting the right feeling if you simplify the human body with shapes. For example, it's very different if you start with a bean shape to make a torso or a square. It's like the flow of the shapes. Yeah, it's the language of the shapes. I don't know how to express it better. Anyway, I've gone on a big tangent here. I really like these videos that I very liberally call drawing time. I say whatever I want and there is no pressure. That will be my advice for you for the week. Whatever you do, whatever your occupation is or your hobby, no matter your goal, don't forget to relax doing it. If you really want to write a book, don't hesitate to also write a short, wacky novel on the side, just to relax and blow off some steam. If you do origami and you've spent weeks working on this one model, take a piece of paper and crush it between your fingers in a ball. Do the thing you do and you enjoy doing, but a version that is pressure-free. I don't know, that's the way I like to see life these days, I think. It might change completely next week. Stay tuned to see if that's the case by subscribing. Like the video and leave a comment. Appreciate the fact that I spent 3 hours and 12 minutes on this just to give you 10 or so minutes of entertainment. Follow my Instagram account for more art and, I don't know, enjoy life. My name is Detroit and this has been my Variety channel. Bye!